I was awakened at 3:15 a.m. every single night. And then one middle of the night, I said, "Who is talking to me?" And they said, "We are light beings like you." I was getting information that I couldn't have known. Today, I've got Archangel Metatron. My specialty is with the code of the creator gods. When there are anomalies, that is when my specialty is to assist with correcting some of those anomalies.
What is going on right now on the planet? Still have questions after watching these videos? Perfect. Come hang out with me on Wake Up Wednesday at 5 p.m. Pacific, 6 p.m. Mountain, 7 p.m. Central, and 8 p.m. Eastern, where we will answer your questions live. And you never know what surprise guests might show up. Thank you for watching. My guest today is Cindy Riggs, who has developed a technique that she calls defragment, which is a combination of hypnosis and healing and channeling. And today we are going to be super lucky to have her channel a being that she hasn't even told me in advance who it's going to be. So I cannot wait to see what unfolds today because it's a magical eclipse day. And I got a license plate that said Angel 555. So I know that there is something in the air. So Cindy, welcome. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you, Laurie. Thanks for having me. I'm very excited.
I am very excited too. So I mentioned that you're a channeler, and I think it's always so fascinating to find out how this started because I feel like it's really only been in about the last 5 years that this has even started to brush against mainstream and not be looked at as odd or something that people just don't understand. And more the collective is waking up that we have suppressed these abilities to connect with these beings who are helping and guiding us because our planet is going through a mass awakening right now. And so I feel that that's the reason it's more prevalent. But when did this first happen to you? And what in the heck did you think was going on?
Well, it was right after I was attuned to Reiki, and it was 30 years ago.
Oh, that's a while for channeling.
Yeah, it is. Yes. And when I started doing it, it was very rare. I only knew of one other channeler, and she was an author at the time. And so I started hearing things after that attunement. And then I started writing things down because I was awakened at 3:15 a.m. every single night. And so I thought, what does this mean? And somebody said, get a pen and paper. I'm like, okay. So I would hear a word in my mind and I'd write it down. And then I'd hear another word and I'd write it down. I'd clear my mind between words. Wasn't even worried about if it was going to form a sentence. I just started doing that. And the next morning I would read these sentences and they were really amazing. One word I had to look up, and it was talking about tachyon energy and things that I had not heard about before. So it was pretty fascinating. And then one middle of the night, I said, "Who is talking to me?" And they said, "We are light beings like you." And talk about chills right then. I'm like, whoa, wow. And then soon after that, I met a spirit guide of mine in a dream that was way too real to be a dream. And she said, "Why don't you type it? It's faster." So that's when I started, the words became faster and I started typing them. And then I started actually speaking them to friends. I was really not sure about this whole thing, if it was real, and until I was getting information that I couldn't have known. So that was pretty fascinating. And that, yeah, it was 30 years ago. And I started maybe 10 years after that doing monthly sessions here in Columbus, Ohio. And I did that for 17 years, something like that. I still do them, but not monthly. But because it is prevalent now, like you said, it has become so prevalent and it's all over social media and it's on YouTube. And now it's not so rare that people come from pretty far. They were coming to my channeling sessions. So lots and lots of fascinating information. And I don't just channel one being like some people do. I have channeled whoever shows up that night. Sometimes it's one angel, sometimes it's a god or goddess, sometimes it's a collective, sometimes it's an extraterrestrial or an extraterrestrial collective. But today I've got Archangel Metatron.
Whoa. Okay. I'm really excited. Well, before we go into a channeling, I want to ask you a couple of questions because I heard you say when they answered you about who they are light beings like us. And I don't think that maybe on this channel, yes, but the majority of people are not thinking of themselves as light beings. And you've had 30 years to process this, to integrate it, to explore it. Tell us about us. How are we light beings from your perspective and the perspective of the light beings that you've channeled?
Right. From the information I've gathered from channeling and from my own inner guidance, we are aspects of the God source, like drops in the ocean. We are our energy, our soul energy, or our soul configuration of quantum particles is no different than the particles of the God source. So we are an aspect of it in a human form. We're both animal and spirit. And that essence, that true essence that our soul is the same essence as that which created us.
Right. Not like it, is it? And I
Is
like to think of, I think that this is almost, I like the drops in the ocean. I've been hearing that for a long time, but I almost like this description better. And tell me if this resonates with you. What if we are the ocean? We're all the ocean, and all of a sudden a wave pulls up out of the top. It forgets that it's the ocean. And then when it dies, it goes back in and becomes the ocean again. It was never not the ocean. It always was the ocean, but just a different aspect of it for a little teeny tiny period of time. Does that resonate?
I love that actually, because every wave is unique, as we know.
Yes.
There's never one, there are never two waves the same. So,
Right.
yes, we're all unique in that one moment of that wave hitting the shore, and then it becomes part of the ocean again. It's perfect. I love it.
So you also mentioned that the reason that you believed the channeling wasn't just because this was an experience for you that you were receiving, but that you were given information that you couldn't have known. And I call this evidential information. Will you give us a couple of examples of what you mean by this information you couldn't have known so people understand how you verify something to make sure it's not just something that you're getting?
Sure. Well, in the very beginning, I mentioned tachyon energy. I didn't know what tachyon energy was. So I had to look that up. And that was interesting. Although somehow I knew how to spell it. So maybe I had seen it somewhere. I don't know.
Maybe you're just a good
The one,
speller.
maybe I am a good speller. But the one that really blew me away was when I was writing a book with the Hindu god Vishnu. And he said something about, I was thinking about this highest good concept that we're taught in Reiki and other energy systems. So we always intend for the highest good. Well, Vishnu all of a sudden said, highest good has its best intentions, but it's not good enough because you're still talking about duality. Good still has an opposite. Even if you say highest goods, so even you're saying highest, meaning it's higher than something else. So there's comparison. He said, if you ask for alignment with your soul's evolution, it overrides all of duality and like basically commands your blueprint to reveal itself. And I literally flew back in my chair that morning while I was channeling it. I said, what did you just say? Alignment with the soul. And so that's what I've been teaching for years to my clients. Because if you think about what does my soul want? My soul's got the blueprint. My soul is the one that came here. My soul is that wave. You know, my soul is the God source. How about you show me what you want to do? You show me what you came here to do. Channeling is apparently something I came here to do, even though I never would have known that consciously. So
Yeah.
that those are a couple of examples of that evidence, something I'd never heard of before, a concept that just blew me away.
I love that you shared that. And that's so beautiful. And it resonates a lot. Will you also explain, since you brought it up, What is tachyon energy and how does it affect us, apply to us? Why do we need to know about it?
That's great. That's a great question. I haven't looked it up for 30 years.
Oh boy.
So,
Maybe we can channel it with Archangel Metatron, actually.
yeah,
Okay, I'm going to write that down to have
yeah,
that as one of the questions.
yeah,
But
please do.
so since we know who we're going to channel and it's Archangel Metatron, explain how you understand the role of archangels to be and how they differ from a human wave.
Yes. So I understand angels to be also the God source, but at a higher vibrational frequency, pure love, and that they have never incarnated as human. The angels also tell me that, please educate people that we don't have genders. So it's difficult to refer to an angel as it or they, but that's what I'm doing my best to do, to honor them, to honor what they've asked me to do. But what was your original question?
How are archangels? What
How
are
are
they
they?
do? What are their role versus like a regular angel? Because they are different.
They are different. They seem to be larger in size. Their energy seems larger in size to what I see in my mind's eye. They seem to have more power, although I don't know if that's just my mind doing that, because I can call on any angel at all. And they are very powerful, full of love, and they do whatever I ask. And I do a lot of clearing work, and they help me with spirit, spirit releasement, spirit clearings. They're just really helpful with healing as well. So I can't really say for sure because I know that at the deepest level, we're all the same energy. So
They're
I think
just a different wave in a different, unique form
yeah, they're a
because they're
different,
not human or having a human incarnation.
right.
I know that archangels are associated with different roles. What kind of role is Archangel Metatron, or should I reserve that for Archangel Metatron?
No, that's okay. In my experience, Metatron governs all of the sacred geometry, which is the structure of everything that is in creation. To explain that further, I see Metatron come when I'm doing a defragmenting session with a client. And Metatron will say, I'm going to work on the interface layer between their energy field and the unified field. And I'm going to fix whatever geometry might have any discrepancies in it. I've also personally seen the field, the unified field. It actually looks like, well, it changes. I've seen it as the flower of life in pastel.
Mm.
I've seen it as the Sri Yantra, the triangles, like that go on forever. I've also seen it really chaotic looking. So I think that it varies. And I can't say for sure, am I seeing my own energy field or am I seeing the field? I believe I'm seeing the field around me for it to be pastels. It's pretty fascinating, but that's what Metatron governs and can help to fix, basically, to help to restructure. And see, I did it. Metatron also can recalibrate a person's energy system. And Metatron will do that through me. Or sometimes not even through me, sometimes just there in the room, which is pretty fascinating. But I've created space for that to occur.
That is fascinating. I definitely want to explore that a little bit more. What does channeling feel like to you when you're doing it?
So, such the most amazing high because I've got more than one soul in my body. And if it's an archangel, it's a pretty massive energy and it's so uplifting, so loving, so pure and light. You know, I feel full of energy, but it's such a good energy. It's really hard to describe. And I'll say when I'm done with a session, like a 2-hour session, well, I'm wired and tired at the same time. You know?
And do you remember everything that was said, or is your brain offline while it's receiving the consciousness of an archangel?
Great question. My brain is aware, but I couldn't repeat what was said. It's too much information typically. And I don't know any of us who could repeat everything we said yesterday, for instance. But yes, I'm usually outside of my body to my right, observing, but not interfering. So I can hear it, but it's interesting how I hear it at the moment it's spoken. I don't hear it before it's spoken. Like, we think of something and then say it, but it's not like that. It's kind of like right then in the present moment.
Okay. Well, if you're ready, I would
Sure,
love to meet Archangel Metatron.
sure. It'll take me a few moments here, Metatron. I Metatron's been standing by, so. And I would suspect that viewers can feel this energy. I know there are no boundaries with time and space. So even if they're watching this 2 years from now, they can still feel the energy. I know most of my participants can feel it in the room. They can feel it over Zoom. And then they can feel it in a replay of a television show. It's really amazing. We are merging as quickly as possible. I have merged with Metatron many, many times for I don't even know how long. I'll step aside quickly so Metatron will speak to you. I am Metatron and I am pleased and honored to be in your divine presence today. How may I assist?
Metatron, I have a question. When Cindy and I got on this connection, she said she was going to channel today and she didn't tell me who. But as soon as she said she was going to channel, I felt an energy surge. It gave me the goosebumps from the top of my head all the way down to my waist, and it instantly brought tears to my eyes. Why would someone have a reaction? And I'm sure it's not just me who is connecting with this energy. What about it would cause a reaction like that in a human?
Many things. First of all, you connected in with her energy, and I was already connected with her energy, so you felt my energy. Secondly, you weren't even sure who I was, and yet you read my energy signature. And so this is what caused you to have the physical sensation because you knew it was something powerful. You knew it was love. You knew it was pure love. And the tears, well, perhaps that's just because you respond in this way to pure love
Wow.
because you are very intuitive.
Thank you. Yes. I think that the earth right now, we are recording this in February of 2026, is going through a lot of massive changes. And I know that there are energy signatures that are happening that are connected to the planetary alignments, to solar flares, to people feeling a certain way. I've had a lot of people in the comments tell me that they can't sleep. They have a ringing in their ears. Their head feels like it's in a vice. They feel like they're in a surge of energy. They don't understand it. What can you tell the people who are watching about what is going on right now on the planet?
What is going on is multiple paradigm shifts all at once. Some are attuned to one or another, but not to all. And this can be overwhelming for some. So, yes, there are some who cannot sleep. There are some who are hearing frequencies. They must bring themselves into the present moment. They must understand that it is important to attune to or entrain to these energies. The human organic body has not yet caught up with these paradigm shifts. And even though all of the individual soul configurations knew that they were coming into this time and that this was possible, all of this was possible, The physical bodies are not always calibrated with those energies. So any type of meditation in which they are asking to be calibrated with the changing energies would be helpful. You simply need to ask. We of the angelic realm do not interfere unless you ask. And you, humans with the free will, are the ones who command what you will and will not allow for your energy space and for your physical body space. So it is very important that you ask. Now, there are some who become so overwhelmed that they believe they cannot function here, or they begin having many allergies, or they begin having other health issues. And that is because of fear. They are afraid that they can't handle it. And some can't. They simply can't. And so it is all of these energy healing systems that are available are helpful for these people. It is important that they ask, though. They must ask. And they must know that it is possible to entrain with these energies. It is possible to calibrate, and yet it's a daily calibration that is needed right now, especially for the next 17 to 18 months in the intensity that you are having here.
Cindy mentioned that you have the ability to recalibrate people's energy systems, and there's been a lot of talk about DNA upgrades within the human bodies that people will be going through and experiencing in the next several years. Can you speak to that, please?
Yes. Some of these are happening automatically. First of all, it is important that I state that each individual is unique. Each unique soul configuration has a unique DNA signature that is related to different places, different beings. So while one human may be receiving codes from their Pleiadian brothers and sisters, another one may be receiving some codes or downloads, as you call them, from their Syrian brothers and sisters. Some may be receiving codes from 17 or 20 different places all at once. And this is not something you can be consciously aware of, but it is important that you allow that to occur, that you be in the space of allowing whomever to provide that for you, whomever that is of the highest frequency of love and light. And so it is difficult to answer the question based on the fact that everyone is unique. Some are receiving codes from Inner Earth. Some are receiving codes from their own past lives or even future lives. There are many messages that people receive from their future selves or some higher part of themselves. This often occurs with numbers in your environment, particularly the number 11 or other multiples of 11. And so it is important to note and to acknowledge those messages when they arise, so that you can allow more to be provided for you. Everyone is being provided energies to assist them along their way, whether they're aware of it or not. So it is important that you ask, and then you'll be provided even more. So, the original question was how to calibrate?
Recalibrate, and what is happening with the upgrading of the DNA? Why is that significant? And really, what will that look like after that happens?
The upgrading of DNA is very, very gradual. It cannot be dramatic because the human body and its physical systems, as well as its energy systems, cannot handle major dramatic changes. So the DNA activations and upgrades are being done on a very, very minuscule level, so that it is very gradual. What it looks like is evolution. And you are already seeing some of this evolution in those that you have diagnosed as some kind of attention deficit. These are people, some of these people, who are operating in the alpha brainwave state all of the time, which is the brainwave state, of course, that is the meditative state, the state where you are in the space of allowing, and you do not need to interact as much. You do not need to do as much. These beings already know that they're here to be. And so that is difficult for some, and it's difficult for some to manage. But that is one symptom of evolution. Another symptom of evolution is that more and more awakening is occurring, much more awakening. And fortunately, your media is providing information and energy, because every word spoken is energy, to assist that awakening for people. So it is the great awakening is what it really is. Does it?
So the DNA upgrading, is it happening right now? And is it going to happen over 10 years, 50 years, 100 years, 1,000 years?
It is happening, and it has been happening for some time. It has been happening gradually for all of the time that there has been life on this planet and elsewhere. But it is never done, you see. It is never finished. It is always becoming something else, moving you to the next level of awareness, the next level of frequency. That is the evolution, until eventually, thousands of years from now, it all becomes one in the oneness once again.
So as we start to experiencing these upgrades, I think that there are suppressed abilities that are going to be coming online for people. So for example, Cindy is able to channel you, and many others are able to channel other beings, archangels, very evolved souls. What can we look forward to in some of the suppressed abilities that will be coming back online in the near future, the future that will affect people who are listening to this broadcast?
Look forward to or expect?
However you would like to answer that.
Very well. So you can expect more of everything, more awakening and more chaos. However, what you can look forward to with that greater awakening is more who are intuitively aware, more who are empathic, more who are aware of others' feelings and have a greater emotional intelligence than they do now. And much of that is already developing. So you can look forward to more of that knowing, finishing each other's sentences, not so much judgment from looking at someone with only your eyes anymore, or listening to them only with your ears, but knowing, listening to them with your heart or your inner mind, your inner guidance, being more aware of everything that's happening, and especially being more aware, individuals being more aware that every individual is that same essence, that true love and light at their core, which will hopefully, this is what we are observing, which will help humanity to raise itself, elevate itself into greater kindness overall.
Will telepathic communication be a part of our human legacy in the next 10 to 50 years, or is that much further out?
It is possible. Telepathy already exists, and it has for some time. So do you mean for it to be more mainstream?
Yes.
Certainly it is possible. We of the spirit world cannot see anything for certain, because it depends on not only the collective consciousness of humans and that collective free will, but also those who control whether that information is released or not.
Interesting. What do the people who are watching need to do to stay in the present moment? I think that this is such a difficult period of time. We as humans have never had as many distractions as a collective as we are having right now. Social media, news feeds, the algorithm being manipulated by AI to grab our attention, to rob us of our ability to discern. And this is going to probably get better before it gets worse. So, what would you tell the people who are listening to do to stay, I guess, as present as they can possibly be during the awakening period?
Yes, this is challenging, a very challenging time. And yet, I would say begin with mini vacations, mini 10 minutes or an hour or even half a day or even a week, but build up to time where you are not distracted by these things and you are in nature, where the God source is prevalent and is pure, so that you can remember your purity, so that you can remember your center. Obviously, when your mind is in the future or the past, it is not in the present moment. So it is about controlling the mind and controlling the thinking so that you will bring yourself into the now. And that is not possible 24 hours a day for most people, but it is a practice and it is something to continue to practice. When things go awry, and they do in your world with all of this distraction, it is important to have a default thought or a default belief, such as, this is all divine order. This is all temporary. This is what it is, rather than good or bad or right or wrong or making some kind of judgment because when you are in judgment, you are in duality. And when you are present, there is no capacity for judgment. Does this make sense?
It really does. I asked Cindy to tell us a little bit about you and who you are as an archangel. Can you explain to people what your duty is, what your specialty is for the earth inhabitants?
My specialty is with the code of the creator gods. So in conjunction with the creator gods, primarily the Elohim at this time, in the time of the Christos wave of energy, I can help to hold together the structure of the unified field, which is her terminology, also known as the universe or the multiverse. But it's all structural. It's all, you are aware that your reality is zeros and ones, you say. And so everything is programming structure into things. So when there are anomalies, that is when my specialty is to assist with correcting some of those anomalies. But there will still be anomalies here. This is a very imperfect holographic plane.
So when you say that this is a holographic plane, I understand what that word means, meaning the whole is within every piece that you would fragment from the whole. What does that mean, though, for the inhabitants? Is this what you would refer to as a simulation, a game? What is the Earth experience?
It's very real while you're here, but a simulation is a little more correct. A game, sure, yes, like a game platform, as though you are avatars in a game platform. It is very much like that. Although you are organic beings here on this plane, part animal and part spirit. And it is important to remember that you do still have animal instinct. You do still have animal urges in the brain. You have these hormones, these chemicals, coupled with the spiritual part of you, all of this energy, all of these beautiful patterns of energy that you are. If you could only see the beautiful mandala that you are, and each one is unique. And so I can help to correct some of those mandalas. And yet, primarily, my duty, if you like, is pure love, and my specialty is structures, geometric structures.
So you mentioned before that the people who are here on this planet right now have come here very specifically during this time. Why did we choose to come here during this time? Because the people I think who will find this video are people who are evolved, they're already on their path, they're already awake, or they're awakening. And I think that they're all looking for answers or something that they can help them to better align to what their purpose is, because I know we all have very individual and unique purposes.
True. And yet the purpose is more about your state of being than it is about anything that you do. There are many who have come here for the purpose of awakening, because you are all connected like a string of lights. When one awakens, the others can brighten. And so some are just here to awaken. Some are here to be, as you call, light workers. Some who are literally broadcasting the source light through them to others. And they might do that through a healing system. They might do that through a spoken word system, or by writing, or by singing, or creating music. There are many, many different types of light workers. Some are here just to hold space for others to grow and to awaken and to be authentic. And so the majority of the beings here at this time have come to be those light workers. And I am using this as a blanket term to include all of those examples that I have stated. So you wanted to be here now. You wanted to be part of this grand awakening. And you are. And the more grateful you are that you are here now, the more grand your experience will be. But
Mm.
if you resist it, then it becomes more difficult. It's very simple, like anything else. If you embrace something, then it becomes easier and effortless. And if you resist it, then it becomes difficult. And that's how you know what is aligned with your truth, your true essence, whether it is practically effortless and easy and natural and makes you feel like you're authentic, or the thing that seems difficult that you try to force into being.
That makes a lot of sense. So
Does,
you
does
go ahead. Were you going to say something?
does that answer your question?
Yes, it does answer my question. You mentioned light workers many times, and you said that you're using this as a blanket term. I know from my experiences on the other side that there is no good, better, best. So, how can you explain the concept of no good, better, best when we talk about something in the human plane that's light worker that does sound like it would be elevated above something else?
Mm. First of all, I am not better than you. I am just a different frequency. I would say a different frequency. This one would say a higher frequency. From your vantage point, that is true. But I am just a different frequency of the same source. So you have light workers who are in comas right now, and they are just being spark plugs for everyone else. You wanted an example of something that was greater than?
No, because I don't think on the other side, good, better, best exists.
It does not. It does not. And so knowing that, or having that belief at least to begin with, you can look at everyone as divine. You can look at the one who seems so unfortunate and realize that that is part of the same energy, and that they might be a light worker too. The one who sits in the alley, who has no home, might be a light worker, because they might just say something profound, or they might just allow you to walk by and give you some energy. You have no idea. Well, some of you will have an idea the more empathic you become. But assume that there is light inside of every being, no matter how they are expressing their avatar.
That's perfect. Thank you. I have 2 more questions I'd like to ask you, if that's okay.
Of course.
You've mentioned source light, source, and creator gods. Can you explain the differentiation between those terms?
Source is the ultimate source of all energy. Light is energy with intelligence or information. And the creator gods are the ones who actually do the programming of the code to create a body or a plant or a tree or an animal.
And are creator gods then a soul, just a different frequency? Are they beings who have had incarnations so that they understand what we're going to go through, or have they never incarnated like you as an archangel?
They have not incarnated like a human. They are familiar with the human form. They also create life elsewhere, and they create within the parameters of the DNA that is currently available or currently in use, perhaps. They, in conjunction with your own soul's intentions for your lifetime, will create a plan, will write a blueprint. They will program that into being. But the blueprint is still dynamic. It is not static.
Yes, absolutely. All right, the last question. Because a lot of people on this channel really connect with conversations about signs and synchronicities, and I think that we're all looking for them. One of the ways that my spirit team communicates with me is through license plates. And today I had to run an errand. Didn't do it probably in the timing that I needed to, but within 5 minutes of being in my car, a license plate in front of me said Angel 555. Will you explain to people who are watching how the archangels, spirits, guides on the other side are working with us through signs and synchronicities and what the significance of them are?
We are doing it in all ways, through animals, through insects, through song lyrics, through illustrated characters, through dreams, through signs like you have mentioned, many different types of signs, in all of the ways that we can as we attempt to get your attention. Now, we, the angels, are typically not attempting to get your attention unless you are asking for our assistance. Your spirit guides are attempting to get your attention, and perhaps you feel a twitch somewhere in your body. Perhaps you have a frequency coming into one of your ears, or perhaps even all the time. Those are ways in which you are attempting to be attuned or recalibrated. And so if you acknowledge those things and just don't say, oh, well, that's weird, or that's a coincidence, don't worry about what it means. Just express gratitude, and then you open yourself up even more. So what it means, and everyone receives signs in a different way. This one receives many license plates as well as barcodes and numbers everywhere. But she doesn't worry about what it means. She's not even concerned about where it comes from. She just knows that it means that she is aligned in the moment. She's in the present moment. She is where she's meant to be in that moment. And that ought to be very comforting.
Exactly. And yes, I agree. It is very comforting. So, Metatron, before you leave us, do you have any final words or messages that you'd like to impart with us?
I have stated so much that is important. Don't forget what you are, not who. Do not worry about the who, the persona. Think more about the what, the truth, the true light, the true love, the true source energy that you are, and allow it to show you its expression here. Allow it to shine from every pore of your skin. Allow it to touch others. Allow it to lead you and magnetize to you the people and the experiences and the adventures that it wants to have, because its ideas are far more magnificent than your mind's ideas. So when you surrender and allow it to channel through you, basically, because you are all channelers of your own soul energy, then magnificent things will occur. And all of these changes in this great awakening will become more pleasant, more fun, more joyous, and you will expand in ways you can't even imagine.
Beautiful. Thank you so much for connecting with all of us today.
It is my honor. Thank you, Metatron.
Wow. Thank you, Metatron. Cindy, how do you feel?
Amazing. Amazing.
So
Metatron's
funny.
still leaving my energy field, but wow. It's all
Wow.
such a sacred event, and so I'm just so honored to be able to do it, and I'm so honored to have been able to do this on your channel today. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Well, I would imagine that people who are watching right now want to know how they can connect with you, because you've written 3 books on channeling. You have your own defragmenting technique that you use to help people.
Yeah.
So tell people what that is and how they can work with you.
Defragmenting. Well, I made a video about it so people could understand it better. There's a whole page on my website about it. I'm cindyriggs.com, CINDYRIGGS.com. And so there's more information there about the defragmenting, which is my most comprehensive session of, you get a reading, you get messages, you're usually hypnotized, you get all kinds of energy clearings, everything that I'm allowed to clear, mentally, emotionally, physically. And then I usually channel someone during the session who's also guiding me to do different techniques, sometimes on the spot just for that person. And they're speaking to my client as well. It's so uplifting, so clearing. Most people feel very light and clear at the end of that. And so that's become sort of my signature session, which I can do remotely as well. And then, of course, I've got my books. I've got a podcast myself called
What is your podcast?
It's From Beyond, Interviewing Spirits, Channeling Insight. And I channel on most of those podcasts. And I always say that seeing me for a session is just like getting your vitamin C.
That's cute. I love it. Well, Cindy, this has been a delightful conversation and a surprise. Did not expect to be able to, when I woke up this morning, to connect with Archangel Metatron. Like, what an honor. I'm so grateful. And I want to thank you. Thank you, Cindy, for what you are doing to help wake up the collective. It is so needed right now.
Oh, thank you for what you're doing too.
Thank you. And of course, this show is absolutely nothing without all of you who tune in to watch, to listen, and to share these episodes with somebody who needs it. And if you still have questions, you can join me for Wake Up Wednesday Live at 5 p.m. Pacific, 6 p.m. Mountain, 7 p.m. Central, and 8 p.m. Eastern. Thank you for watching. I'm Laurie Majka. If you like stories that open your heart and expand your soul, hit subscribe. This channel is waking up the collective.